The Bushy and Bobo Show, a healthy scratch podcast. Here's your hosts, Kyle Busch and Brian Rager.
Welcome back to Healthy Scratch, the Bushy and Bobo Show, episode 19. It's been a few weeks since we've...
A very hot minute.
It's been a second, and we had a really good excuse for being off because Mr. Bobo Rager got married, and he's a married man, and his life is over.
Roll on, Jimmy.
Guy wears his ring at home. That's actually dedication because, I'm not.
So I'm used to doing this. This is the biggest just playing have my fingers rubbed. This hand is so weird, but it's not what I'm getting used to. But
it's the weirdest.
Mr. Brian, it has a good ring to it.
Got a good ring to it, just like Mr. Andy Bernard. So hey, how does it feel though? Moved into the new office,
new studio,
and you can tell that Brian is recording with a potato today. And
just using the laptop today.
Guy's just blowing everyone's eardrums out. That's fine. Everybody's gonna have to deal with it. And so we'll get into the pod here after I have to chirp Bobo a little bit. I have to be really nice to him. I have to be really nice to him in my speech. So
you did plug our podcast and our website and all that at the wedding. So I do appreciate that.
Views went down weirdly. We should have a merch table. We were talking about putting a merch table at the wedding. Angela would have been fine with that.
Could have made a couple of dollar dues, and
she's got to be okay with that. We're going to the top, right? I told Shannon, we are going big time, and just hang on to the rocket ship because we're going all the way up. And our level of fame, we don't want it to go above our wives, but they have to be prepared for fame and fortune, right?
Yeah, and bitches.
Just try to get used to it. Okay, so everybody and their mother has been breaking down the Jack Eichel trade, so we're gonna do it too.
Why not? Everyone has been, and
this is
behind the ball.
Big trade that was in the works. I almost called it where he was gonna go. I called Calgary. I guess they were the other team, right?
Yeah, Calgary. But Sutter said he had no clue what was going on with that.
Kevin Weeks tweeted some crazy trade offer that apparently had Matthew Tkachuk in it, a couple picks, a prospect. I'm I don't know if I would trade Matthew Tkachuk straight up for Jack Eichel. You know what I mean? Probably I would, but I'm just saying, if that was an actual offer, then Buffalo's stupid to not take it. All that is someone leaking info to Kevin Weeks and using him to negotiate a price. So it was probably someone from Vegas or something saying, hey, here's what the offer was. Anywho, so Jack Eichel and a conditional
Jack Eichel and a 2023 conditional third for Alex Tuch, Peyton Krebs, a 2022 first and a 2023 second.
The first rounder is top 10 protected, which is an interesting thing because if this doesn't work, Vegas is in a load of trouble and they would be bottom 10, but I don't see that happening. So first of all, it's good for Jack.
Initial thoughts.
Yeah, it's good for Jack Eichel to get out of Vegas. When I heard the trade or saw the return, out of Buffalo. Sorry, we're rusty. I immediately was okay, what's the return? And I saw the return, and I immediately was okay, so Detroit got more for Anthony Mantha at the trade deadline. So I was wondering about the return. Okay, so I want to hear so my initial reaction was, that's it. But I'll keep going on that. But what did you think when you heard, he's going to Vegas, and you saw the return for him?
My initial thing is, how is Vegas able to afford this? Granted, right now, Eichel is on injury, right? So he's on LTIR.
So is Pacioretty, and so is the problem is Pacioretty. There's going to be more moves to be made because when they come back from IR, they are well over the salary cap.
Eichel's making $10 million for after this for another 4 seasons. Stone's getting 9.5 for another 5+ seasons. Yeah, Pacioretty has another $7 million next year.
My thing was kind of they better win in the next 2 or 3 years, or they're in a boatload of.
Or they're absolutely boned.
Yeah.
So that was my first thing is salary cap wise, how the hell is this working out? And then, like you said, like that was the return. Like you're getting young players. Like Tuck's hurt right now too. He's on LTIR. Krebs, I think he'll be able to do something. And you get that first round pick, top 10 protected, but they get a young return. But the fact that, like you said, Detroit got more in that Mantha deal, it's like,
well, here's why. Here's why. When I saw that, and I heard, like, I saw a tweet about that, and I went, technically they're right, but it's all a matter of circumstance. With any trade, it's all about leverage. It's all about who wants what, who's going to offer that price, and is that something that they're willing to do. So, we can look at it and you can run it through like NHL 22, and like people do that. Would this team accept it? Well, of course, like it's not how you would do it. But Jack Eichel wanted out. Everybody in the league knew he wanted out of Buffalo.
The return wasn't going to be as high as
because of leverage, right? Because a team like Vegas goes, we know he wants to leave. We know that there's only a certain amount of teams that can A, fit him in the salary cap, B, pay our price.
Yeah.
Right. And our number 3, I get, would be they're okay with this surgery, which apparently every single team in the league other than Buffalo was fine with him getting. So my question more is the Buffalo Sabres, like, again, I think every episode you call them a tire fire, but like, that in my opinion is a total mismanagement of Jack Eichel's situation. Now, something that was very interesting that came out when he was talking with, I think it was Elliot Friedman, and there was a couple other interviews that he did, like he's on Spit and Chicklets too, is Eichel was even saying, like, he requested a trade prior to this happening. Did you know that?
I did not.
He basically said to Kevin Adams that if we're going through another rebuild, if this is kind of what we're doing, I don't know if I want to be here for that. And it might be better for you to move me. Then the whole thing about the neck injury and the surgery came up. So I can't help but wonder, how personal did this get? Where Buffalo was like, we're not going to let you get this surgery. Like, it's so bizarre. Like, even Kelly McCrimmon, the Golden Knights GM, he had a quote that was very honest. And he's like, I don't know why you wouldn't want what's best for your player. Like, if you even would have said, like, we'll let you get the surgery. Like, I know they're trying to protect an asset, but it's this guy's body, right? So are you tanking is his trade value slightly lower because he's getting this surgery? I guess you could use that as a bargaining chip if you're Vegas. You can go, hey, I mean, he's doing this surgery that you don't want him to get. We're going to allow him to do it. If you think it's a risk, then we're taking on that risk. We're not giving up as much, right? So that injury
on it.
It was a bargaining chip, right? If you knew Jack Eichel wanted out of Buffalo, why wouldn't you just say, fine, it's okay, you can get the surgery, and then we'll trade you anyway.
We'll trade you.
And it's something where he wouldn't have lost a little bit of value because of this surgery. They made it an issue, right? And then it was a circus, and a team like Vegas goes, okay, we'll swoop in and take him, because they didn't pay that much. Now, the cool thing too, I don't think it's a cool thing, but do you know, like, every first rounder that Vegas has is like been traded?
I did not know that.
Like, except their ones from last year.
Huh.
Yeah, if you pull up all their first rounders, like, look it up right now. It's interesting because, like, Nick Suzuki, he's in Montreal. Peyton Krebs, like, he's with Buffalo.
Yeah, was traded.
Brandstrom is now with Ottawa. So and I know there's another one. He was part of the Stone deal, I'm pretty sure, right? So, every single one of their first rounders has been moved after they got drafted. Except for like Vegas's.
Like, I'm looking at Vegas's daily face-off right now, like their top 6. Like, I know they have a bunch of injuries in that right now, but when all these guys come back healthy, like right now, the Eichel's out, Stone's out, Nolan Patrick's out. Like, I think that was a great pickup for Vegas.
Oh, absolutely. Carlson, it would have been a great pickup for anybody. Technically, think about this. I thought about this, Detroit. I had a little bullet point. I was going to maybe make a video about, like, does Jack Eichel make sense in Detroit? Yeah. He'd make sense in a lot of places. He'd be your best top line center. Can you imagine if you'd have to give
you
up?
know what? That's so much pressure then off Larkin.
But think about the cost.
Well, what's the
right?
return?
Alex
Yeah.
Tuck, Peyton Krebs, a first round pick, and a second round
third. Yeah, second.
You can give up the picks. Now Detroit, they're looking okay right now, but if they're probably going to be bottom 10 by the end of the year, but if they're a little even higher, it's not a really, really high pick, but it's still a risk if you're losing a top 10 pick. But if you're okay with that, you probably wouldn't need to give up the second because it's going to be a high first. You're going to give up now a first round.
Maybe a third, or
are they going to give up like Simon Edvinsson or Sebastian Cossa? No. Are they going to give up like William Wallander? Like he was like a 32nd overall pick. Maybe is he comparable to Krebs? Maybe. So because Krebs I think he was a late first rounder, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll take a look.
Alex Tuck is like he's Anthony Mantha light. He's a good player, but they didn't
Krebs
give up
was
a
taken
lot.
17th.
17 right in the middle. Okay. So I don't think like Detroit could have paid that easily, fit him under the cap, fit him into the salary. You'd have him as your top line center. Larkin's number 2. Like now you're like, holy shit, now we've got a team. We're going to talk about the Wings in a second.
Now, that like, rebuild is
anyone could have went. Yeah. Like, but the thing is he wants to
helps
go to
any
contender.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he helps any team. He wants to go to contender. Plus, I have a feeling by later on this year, they're going to be calling him Johnny Vegas. Jack Vegas.
Jack Vegas. Oh my God. Yeah, maybe. I think he'll
to quote Penrose, he's gonna fucking Vegas.
So I think when he comes back, that's going to be a nice fit because he's never really been surrounded by anybody in Buffalo at all.
No,
like at all. So he has an opportunity to play with actually good players now. Can you imagine?
People are going to say, "Oh, Taylor Hall was a fit for like." No, he's playing with guys that are established, that are
right. And then they have a good core. They got a good D. They got a goalie. Like they're a playoff contender, right? So good for Jack Eichel. Got out of there. Moving on to maybe the dumpster fire of this year. It's not the Coyotes because they are clearly tanking. If you thought the Red Wings were tanking, which they
Scott Wedgwood claimed that he wins his first game there.
Good for him.
Their first win of the year.
Coyotes are terrible. The Blackhawks are a tire fire in more ways than one. But here's something that
Stanley Cup finalists.
If we had Pete on, I think he'd agree with us. Lou is a blue blood for the Habs, but he probably would agree with me too. Montreal is terrible. They made the Stanley Cup final last year on Carey Price's awesome playoff run. He was incredible. People forget that Carey Price was pedestrian in the regular season. Jake Allen got them to the playoffs, and Carey Price took them the rest of the way. People forget that, well, they're probably not Toronto fans, but they were down 3-1 to the Leafs in the first round, and they were almost done. The changes that Montreal made this offseason, this is a huge thing. For Carey Price was in the there was some program he's dealing with some mental issues or
his personal issues and whatnot.
He's coming back.
He's coming back sooner than I thought he would be.
But
they're also missing.
Good.
They're missing their captain. They're missing Weber,
Weber's probably done too. So, and that's a big thing, right? He's a minute muncher. Your best defenseman is Jeff Petrie now, I guess. And I mean, he's a good defenseman, but he's not a number one guy in my opinion. And then you have, up front and in defense. I mean, they're 3-10 right now, 3-10, and listen to this. 2 of their freaking wins came against Detroit. Okay. We'll talk about it. So 2 of their wins against Detroit, they're 3-10. So they're let's share the screen and we'll look at the line combos here. So their top line: Tyler Toffoli, Nick Suzuki, Brendan Gallagher. Now Gallagher was out for a while. We'll say that he's one of their better guys. Hoffman, he's been an addition from the offseason. Jake Evans, Josh Anderson. So then you got Lehkonen. Dvorak was traded for when they lost Kotkaniemi. Joel Armia, and then Pizzetta, Paquette, and Balzili. Is that how he's at? That's how I'm saying it.
I don't know. He's French. Line. I don't care.
You look at their depth, and like on paper, their top 9 isn't that bad. It really isn't. But they're not performing. You have Drouin that's out. Let's look at the bottom. Drouin is out. This isn't even letting me move.
Like defensive.
Daily
I thought a
faceoff
guy
is
coming in,
shocked right now. Here we go.
David Savard, I thought he was going to be doing a lot better in Montreal than what he is.
So if you plug in Matthew Perreault, Jonathan Drouin, and Paul Byron, it makes it nicer. Matthew Perreault is a healthy scratch for a few games as well.
No pun intended.
No, see what we did there? So, and I mean, on D, it's looking rough. I mean, Sherratt, Petrie, and like Kulak was up and down last year in the minors. They got David Savard, which at the time I thought was going to be.
I thought he was going to do a lot better. Like he's.
Lou's not a fan. I think he said he's Carl Alsner 2.0. I'm like, I don't know about that, but I mean, he's clearly, you went from a team playing in Tampa, even Columbus, like he was comfortable there. He doesn't look comfortable in Montreal. And then like Romanov is a young kid, and so is Weidman. So those guys, you hope they play a little better than they are, but it's a weird thing in Montreal. I called it. I said I didn't really think they were that good. Like even when they were in the final, I'm like,
they weren't. You didn't think they were the finals team.
No,
you thought they were just.
They got hot. It's not like they
Jake
didn't.
Allen. Jake Allen was the one that brought him there, but he's not a regular season goalie. Like he's not a.
What are you talking about?
Jake Allen, like you said, he was hot in the playoff, or like he helped get him there, but he's not a bona fide starter. Like he's not. He can't take on the load.
No, I mean,
early in the season,
he's
3-8.
Dude, he did last year. He got them to the playoffs. He was a starter in St. Louis a few years ago. But like that's why they have Jake Allen. That's why they protected him in the expansion draft. And it might have been because Price was like, listen, guys, I'm dealing with some shit, and I know my contract is high, no one's taking me. But that's the reason they kept Jake Allen. They obviously value him.
Yeah,
if something like this happens,
he was going to be able to be.
They saw what happened when Carey Price couldn't perform. They were terrible. They couldn't keep the puck out of the net. But Jake Allen's their guy. I think it's a full team thing. They look lethargic whenever I see them play. Even when like they played Detroit, they look good because I mean Detroit looked flat. They made Montreal.
You asked me was to bring up their stats, and I have their best player statistic wise is Nick Suzuki. 13 games, he has 12 points. 3 goals, 9 assists.
He should be at the top.
Their best guy plus minus is a +3. And that's Matthew Perreault.
I don't care about plus minus.
Okay,
stupidest stat I'll ever talk about.
Points, it's Suzuki. Toffoli has 7 points and 13. Drouin 7 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
Anderson 6 and 13. But
what's Hoffman done?
5 points in 10 games. He's a -7.
Okay. I said I don't.
David Savard.
They're a -19 as a team.
Yeah.
So they're all going to be minus.
David Savard 3 points in 13 games.
He's a defenseman. He's not an offensive defenseman.
Yeah.
What about Gallagher?
Oh God, he was doing where is he? 5 points in 12 games.
Yeah. I think you want more from those guys. I mean, Suzuki's been pretty good. They're definitely thin down the middle. Right. I think Drouin, having him back is nice too. He was having some issues with Ducharme out of practice. I think they just need a spark. I think they need a few games to get like some confidence because they don't look like they did in the playoffs. In the playoffs, they were flying. They were hitting everybody. They look good. And I'll give them credit for getting to the I give them credit for getting to the final. There goes the green screen somehow. But Montreal
was barking behind me.
Yeah. I guess, how does that happen? That's like the magic of green screen.
Magic. Good studio production.
Anyway, Habs need to be better. On to my Red Wings, okay? I felt like, at the beginning of the year, if we would have done like hey, here's where we think we're gonna end up, I still would have thought, the Wings would have been bottom 5. I saw some projections, we'll say. And it's actually technically from a site that I use a lot. This guy on Twitter, JFresh, he's got a lot of these advanced statistics. I like getting into that stuff. Find it interesting because, again, plus minus is not a useful stat. It just isn't. Like if a team sucks, you're going to probably be a minus, right? It's something where you can compare it. But these advanced statistics, this guy put out projections of where these teams going to end up. And Detroit was worse than Buffalo. And I was like, what? And Ottawa. I was like, wow. Are you really? So, I mean, that was something they like at bottom of the division. And I'm like, just based on their advanced statistics. Now, the only thing that couldn't be taken in consideration was players that they brought in that don't have NHL experience. That being Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider, who they're rookies. You have no idea what these guys are going to be, right?
And
So, they've been
playing
very, very good. They've been their best players. I mean, top 5. Moritz Seider is their number 1 defenseman. And I said that before he even made the team. He's their number 1 guy, and he's not even there yet. So when they were talking about if he makes the roster, I'm like, cut the shit. He's going to play 22 minutes a night, and that's what's happening. Now, if we look at some interesting things from Mr. J Fresh, projected wins above replacement, so projected WAR for defensemen. So number 1, you got Adam Fox. Okay, so he's around a 2.5. Now he's the Norris Trophy winner, right?
Yeah.
Right after him, Charlie McAvoy, Cale Makar, Dougie Hamilton, Devin Taves. Interesting. Right after those 5, Moritz Seider. Right after them.
Interesting.
In front of Mackenzie Weegar, Shea Theodore, Roman Josi, Brent Pesce, Jared Spurgeon, Adam Pelech. Kid's 19, or he's 20 years old, right? And if you look at some of the stats this year, now it's a small sample size. His wins above replacement is 98%. That's insane. Like, are you kidding me? He's doing awesome. Like, I mean, he this is before he scored his first goal the other night, but I mean, he's been decent. He's been basically middle of the pack for like even strength offense, 90 percentile even strength defense. That's really good. Power play, penalty kill, he's in the top quarter. Hasn't taken any penalties, but it's interesting to look at these.
He's in this top bracket, I guess you could say right now,
yes.
Defenseman on a team that's as a rookie. Size. Yes, but on a team too that's not project, like you said, a bottom 10 team. Like, and
they're both leading NHL rookies in scoring. It's Raymond and then Seider, one after the other, and the next is like Michael Bunting, like Toronto. Honestly, I would put money on Lucas Raymond or Moritz Seider winning the Calder Trophy. I'd put money on it because I don't think they have a lot of competition, and it's something where like watching guys like a guy I was hyped for was Philip Zadina when he came in, because we didn't have a play thing. It was a shiny new thing. Ooh, 6th overall pick, goal scorer. Yeah. I'm gonna fill their nets with pucks, all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, he's got a little bit of an edge to him. I still really like Philip Zadina, but I think he's like their second line winger. I think he's kind of gonna be like a Thomas Tatar type. Which, yeah, it's a little bit disappointing because you picked him 6th overall.
As a 6 over, yeah.
But he's an NHL player, and he does not look out of place. He looks like an NHLer now.
He could be a solid second line. There's nothing wrong with that. Like,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Knowing your role and being productive.
Right. So with Raymond and Seider adding this level of, well, we didn't know, I love what I'm seeing right now. And I haven't been excited to watch Red Wings hockey for a while now. And just with the changes that they've made, in the last few years since Yzerman came in, I know we did that big video on that. It's been an amazing transformation, and it's fun to watch them even when they're losing. I mean, the Montreal games, yeah, they lost, but here's another thing: like when is there pressure on Bertuzzi to get vaccinated? Because like here's the thing: they're only playing in Canada. Next is in February. Yeah, it's February. Yeah. So it's already been 3 games, right? I mean, what's another few? But you can tell that they are a completely different team without him than with him, because they're 0-3 in Canada. I mean, they didn't have Larkin as well. He's dealing with a family matter, but it totally changes the whole dynamic of the team. Like Lucas Raymond's playing with those 2 guys. Now all of a sudden he's with 2 other guys. They clearly have chemistry, Raymond, Bertuzzi, and Larkin.
Yeah, and as a rookie, especially like you said, Raymond as a rookie, it was great chemistry with those 2, with Bertuzzi, Larkin, whatnot. But then he said, take him out, it's more pressure on a rookie.
You want consistency for him.
Exactly, because as a rookie, you may have your stretches that if you have a bad stretch, that's going to play you probably don't know how to take it as much as or how to overcome that as a vet. But
he definitely has some poise. I like both of them. They seem calm. They seem that they got a lot of energy as well. I'm really interested to see how this season keeps going because they've been playing some exciting games. They're getting some goal scoring. And another thing that's been lost in the shuffle that not a lot of people are remembering is Jacob Vrana is still out. Like, he's not even back yet. He was their best player last year, like by far. When Larkin's been playing this year, I was talking about, there was one about should they trade Larkin? I said no then, and I'm saying no. Absolutely not now, because I said what you need to see from this guy is a bounce back season. As much as he is and him and Bertuzzi are helping Lucas Raymond is helping both of them, maybe even more, because now they actually have someone else to bounce off of. I mean, they used to have that line with those two and Mantha. This Raymond kid can move. I mean, and he's got the shot like Mantha does. He's got more speed. He's a little more dynamic. I think he's always on. And I think that's going to be interesting going forward, because when Vrana comes back, I love I like their top six now. When he comes back, I mean, you're talking Bertuzzi, Larkin, Raymond on your top line. And then you're going to have Zadina with like Fabry or Suter with Vrana. Sign me up, man. Are you kidding me? Because one of those guys is getting bumped to the third line, right? Now you're playing with Rasmussen needs a bump in the ass because he hasn't been doing anything. I love their D. I like Seider looks great. Leddy looks really good. I mean, he coughed that one up to Marner, but Leddy looks really good. Hell, even like Mark Stahl is holding his own. I mean, De Kaiser looks like a reindeer like usual. I think he'll be gone after this year. They might bring Stahl back. And then some of the young guys, Lindstrom looks okay. I mean, I don't have an Eriksson on this team. There's no one out there that I'm like, yeah. And even their fourth line, like Mitchell Stevens, he's this young kid. He's got so much energy. He wins faceoffs. I mean, finishes his hits. I love seeing that. He's Luke Glendening that doesn't make $3 million a year, and he's younger. Like, that's what you want on the team. So I just wanted to talk about the Wings real quick. And I think that I have one more thing I want to
I want you to hold your point there for 1 second. I just got to go upstairs quickly.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to talk to everybody here.
All right. You talk to everyone.
I'm going to talk to everybody about the Wings prospects because you're not going to give a shit. All right. While Bobo goes and takes a poop. So the top 4 scorers in the under 21 in the Swedish Elite League right now are all Detroit Red Wings prospects. You've got Elmer Soderblom, Simon Edvinsson, Albert Johansson, William Wallander. Now, I mean, Soderblom's been awesome. He's had 19 games played, 8 goals, 3 assists, 11 points. That's pretty good for a young kid. These guys are all young. They're all teenagers playing in a men's league. This is what Lucas Raymond did last year. This is what Moritz Seider did last year. Even Joe Veleno went over and played. I think he was in is he in Sweden? He was over in Europe somewhere. But they all performed, and now you're seeing how these guys have actually performed, and they're developing. So I think even if you hit on a few of these guys, you're looking pretty good. And putting it in that pool, like I said, with Veleno, Soderblom, Edvinsson was a 6th overall pick, just like Moritz Seider. So if you have a guy like Seider, you bring back Leddy, you've got Edvinsson in your lineup now. Even Albert Johansson, a little bit, like a shiftier defenseman. Wallander is more of a project. He's boom or bust. Is he going to make it or not? And then you look at a guy like Sebastian Casa, right? Cosa? Why did I say it like he's Spanish? Sebastian Casa. WHL, he's got like a 98 save percentage. Like, this kid's unbelievable. He shouldn't even be in that league right now. He should be in Grand Rapids. And he might be, I think he definitely will be next year. And maybe even make a push, get some spot starts here and there. So I thought it was really interesting to see some of these picks, and a lot of them are Swedish, do really, really well. And I mean, one of them, Soderblom I think he was a Ken Holland pick. The other 3 were all Steve Yzerman draft picks, maybe Johansson. Forget when he got picked. A lot of projects. But I definitely love how a lot of those prospects are going along. Now, Bobo's not here. I'm going to go and talk about this Connor McDavid goal real quick. You guys didn't see it. I mean, how have you not? If you're listening to this, you're clearly a hockey fan. Connor McDavid's a human cheat code. Like, someone's got to check and see, what does this guy have in his gloves or his skates? Or, Is he a robot? Because he scored one of the best goals I've ever seen. 1-on-4. I mean, made the defenseman look sick, made the goaltender look sick, and just dipsy doodled everybody.
Beauty of a goal. An absolute beauty of a goal.
Everybody. I mean, I couldn't believe. By the way, I just basically said the Red Wings.
I had my headphones in up.
Nice. And so yeah, McDavid. I just wanted to say that was insane. It's not even anything we have to describe. It's just the guy's insane.
Just a robot. The guy, and then
more importantly,
Jesus for
what the hell were those 4 guys doing?
They wanted to get on a poster.
Yeah. You want to be on ESPN and TSN? Like, here's the thing. Okay. Like, why not just, like, chop them
down? They blew it.
Take a fucking penalty, man. Chop him down. Fucking hook him.
You know why?
You know he's going to... Why? Because he's going to score on the power play? What, is Dave Semenko going to come out and punch his face in?
No, they're going to hack his legs. And next thing you know, it's not just going to be a penalty. The league is going to suspend him because Connor McDavid is the poster boy for the NHL.
But he didn't score. Okay. And if he was the poster boy for the NHL, they'd be getting him out there a lot more. Okay. No one knows who McDavid is.
It's because he's playing in Canada.
Although Ocho Cinco actually tweeted out, this guy's insane. Did you see that?
Well, he is.
Yeah, there are some professional athletes that are like, wow, like this looks impressive. I want to talk about Antti Ranta getting his face smashed in. I don't even know who it was that actually went and hit him. Not that he went in, I don't know, like 2 days ago. Just type in like Antti Ranta like collision or something. Because whoever it was got a 5-minute major, a game misconduct for like running the goalie. But if you really watch the video of it, I didn't think it was even a penalty. Like, if you're going to give him a penalty, give him 2 for, like, I don't know, interference.
Ryan Lomberg.
I knew it was
okay.
So, basically, Ranta comes out, like, 20 feet to, like, play the puck. I think Lomberg had his head down, and then he looks up and sees him, and it's, like, it's too late. He ran him over. Like,
I'm watching this for the first time right now.
It's not a 5-minute major, dude. And I want to say the thing. It's like, stay in your net. What do you want Lomberg to do? What do you want him to do?
No, there's nothing he can do. I'm
talking to all the freaking people on Twitter that are like, ooh, he freaking, like he hit him on purpose. It's a
that was not intentional
game, man. It's not intentional.
It was not intentional.
No.
Watching it, like initial react, like Lomberg, he's battling for that puck coming down. Ranta's trying to pull something quick.
It didn't
work out.
So if you're a referee, like, why are you calling? What are you calling there? Are you like a 5-minute major? But because he got hurt? I mean, what do you want him to do? He's playing the puck. I mean, okay. And another thing, a goalie is not fair game if he's out of the crease. If anyone's thinking that's not a thing. You can't just run the goalie over.
You see,
there has to be something where if there's a collision, it's not a penalty. It can't be. You know what I mean? Like,
he tries to poke the puck and tries to avoid the hit. He's trying to move out of the way, but with all that speed and momentum, you're not going to be able to stop on a dime and do all that.
It happens in a lot of other plays as well that don't have goalies involved in it too, where it's just, remember the Corey Perry got Tavares in the head with his knee. It was so fast that it was like, what do you want him to do? And I remember like Perry had to fight the next shift, like fought Foligno or something. It's like, man, would you really think I meant to slam this guy's face with my knee? Like, it was so quick. I tried to get out of the way. You know what I mean? We talked about that.
It's an unintentional, like, yeah, it's unintentional. It's like, I just watched it for the first time running through without hearing anything about it before. And it's like, that's my first thing.
It just wasn't. That was my first. And like, speaking of Tavares and the Maple Leafs, I want to address. We're getting into some more fun stuff now. Is Toronto's dress code? So they don't really have one. They kind of got rid of it, and that was like a big thing at the beginning of the year. Is no suits and ties. You don't have to if you don't want to. Like, you can wear whatever.
They look like a bunch of bums.
Like, here's what I'll say. When I was growing up, we always wore like a shirt and a tie. Even when we were young. When we were really young, we wore like turtlenecks. It said our team name on it. You wore your team jacket. But it was one of those things where you're always taught, like, you're representing your city, like dress like you're going to, basically like you're going to work, right? Like look respectable, look good.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that at all, right? And a lot of people, for some reason, found a problem with that. Like, oh, we should let them do whatever they want. Okay, fine.
My thing is look good, feel good, play
But if
good.
you're walking in with like a fedora and like a white t-shirt coming out of like a sweatshirt and wearing sweatpants, I feel like that's kind of like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we trying to?
You know what's these sweatpants? They're not just like the regular gray Fruit of the Loom. They're going out there. They're buying like looks like homeless sweatpants, but they're
right. There's a way
designer.
to do this. There's a way to do this, and I understand that the NHL or maybe Toronto's doing this, or maybe the NHL is doing this. I don't even know if they're
trying to get like the NBA because they're
trying to get personality.
NBA, what the NBA does is they have a whole thing before. Look who's coming! Almost like a pre-show, like a red carpet thing. In the end, now they have the NHL dress code as first it was there was none, then there was, now it's relaxed. The NHL is trying to do the same thing now.
Right. And I just thought that some of them, I just remember watching a few of them walk in and I was like, really? That's what you're going with? Like, you're professional.
Austin Matthews and his pedo stash is going there wearing his Justin Bieber shirt.
Yeah. I get that there are ways to do it, I think, right? To where you're kind of, you can do what you want to do, but you can still kind of look good. You know what I mean? Where it's kind of like you can have some fun with it. And like, I'm not a party pooper. It's hard for me to look at that and go like, yeah, that's cool. Like, you know what I mean? Where it's just, you look like an idiot.
Some of these outfits.
Yeah, it's like you look like a moron.
Like they just woke up and
they rolled out of bed. Yeah, exactly. Like Marner was just playing Fortnite and like rolled out of bed like, oh shit, I got to go to the game.
They got their Starbucks with them. They got their Starbucks with them and their headphones.
What do you think about a distinct kicking motion for goals?
Well, so when I first hear kicking motion, the very first thing I think of is 1999.
Okay.
The Brett Hall, like
you didn't I don't know what, like
I know, but the foot in the crease and I like the way his foot's angled, it sort of looked.
This isn't what I'm talking about. I like that you went to that randomly.
But that whenever I hear kicking motion, like I know it's totally different, like foot in the crease and kicking motion. I think a distinct kicking motion is like you got to move. Like there's got to be movement of not just the ankle, because your ankle you can move. It just trying to position yourself. Okay. Your knee. You got to have movement in your knee.
Should you be allowed to kick the puck in the net or not?
If you do, you got fucking skill.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Okay, why the hell are we not like in the NHL now? Like, why are we trying to get rid of? If you can
score off your ass, then why can't you score from kicking?
Yeah, like, okay, I understand the reason why they say no, because they don't want to skate coming up and hitting someone. Like that's not what you
understandable.
Want. Here's my suggestion, my idea, because for some reason the NHL says they want more goals, but they really don't. They have all these freaking offside reviews. We talked about that. We talked about goaltender interference reviews and all the stuff that kills the flow.
Talked about reviews.
This would probably be something where you'd have to review it, but it would be pretty easy to determine. If your skate blade stays on the ice, you should be able to do whatever the hell you want. Kick it in. I don't give a shit. Honestly, if the puck's right there and I kind of like do a stopping motion or I kind of sweep the leg and I keep my foot on the ice as I do
if I do this and I kick it in, if you take a shot from the point and you have it maybe that high off the ground coming through and I'm in front and I just deflect it, like keeping my foot on the ice.
Yeah. That's not a distinct kicking that's a deflection. If you just kind of angle your skate, I think that's fine. But if you, in my opinion, you should be able to keep your skate on the ice and move your foot towards the puck and kick it into the net. I think that should be fine. Let's get more goals.
Like a scrum in front of the net.
Yes.
Guys there, loose puck.
It's 2 feet from the.
Just using Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no. I don't see
My
anything
stick's
wrong with
tied up. Oh shit! Kick. Boom. My skate's on the ice. It's good. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
Why is that?
Cool.
Why is that not a thing? Because it's more of an injury thing. Though we don't want anybody getting kicked in the. But hey, it's the same thing. But here's the same thing: is we, trying to get rid of goals. It's the same review process. Think about that. It's actually
make the pads smaller
easier.
and
Listen, it's easier. It's an easier review this way. All you got to know is the skates on the ice. There'd probably be like one where it's like, wait, is it though? It's his toes on the ice. You know what I mean?
Is his blade on the yeah?
It's the same thing like looking at a review for an NFL player making a catch. Is his feet
2
in
feet
bounds?
in bounds? Yeah.
Same thing. Now it's like, no, well, the puck went in. We know it went in. Is it a distinct kicking motion? We don't give a shit. Did his skate stay on the ice? That's it.
Yep. And then
you got more goals. You know how many more goals we'd have in the league?
Tons.
Let's go. We got more goals.
I think maybe a 46% increase.
Right. So, did you see that Seattle retired a jersey number?
Yeah. And they raised the banner for the Stanley Cup.
That was cool. I thought that was kind of neat. Seattle.
Okay, then should Vancouver then raise the 1914 or 1917 Stanley Cup that they have? No.
Yeah.
No, they shouldn't.
Yeah, because then you have actually won something. You can talk about.
Oh, but it's not the Canucks.
Remember 107 years ago? Remember that?
The Metro. The Metros weren't the Kraken. It's not like.
I think it's more for the city, right?
Fuck it.
Hey, does Ottawa have a Silver Sevens banner? I bet you. I wonder if they do.
Probably not.
Probably not. Now, Montreal Maroons, I don't think they would because they were a different franchise.
Exactly. So was the Seattle Metros. So was the Vancouver Millionaires from back. Back in
the thing is there wasn't two Seattle teams. There's one. So I think they're honoring the history. They're not saying they won it. They're just going, hey, here's part of Seattle's history. We don't have anywhere to put this up. Think about that.
I think I say this too.
Think about the guys that are 107 years old that are like, we won the Stanley Cup back then. Oh, they're long dead. But anyway.
Yeah. But it's like, okay, well, if they're doing it, like I think it's stupid to begin with, but at least they're doing it at the beginning of their franchise. Like if Vancouver were to do it now, or say in 2027, 110 years, if they did it in 2017, it's been 100 years since the Maroons won or the Millionaires won the cup. Like, no, that's stupid. But
okay. So I'm gonna look up. I think it was number 1. Oh no, 32. Okay, this is even worse.
Yeah, 32 for the 32nd team.
This is the stupidest thing that I
doesn't Minnesota have like 17,000 whatever.
Number 1 has number 1 fans. They retired.
So stupid.
32 is retired for the Kraken because they're the 32nd franchise. Okay, these numbers that are retired for no frickin' reason make no sense to me. Now, one that I can definitely get behind is number 58, Golden Knights. I understand why they did that because of that tragedy that happened in their first year. I get it. 58 people died. That's the way they honor them. I think that's actually a cool thing to do. So the Vegas one, I'm cool with it. But when you're just doing it to do it, and you're like, hey, we're just gonna raise a banner. It's like, if I'm a fan of that team, I'm like, what the hell freaking Mickey Mouse is this shit? You know what I mean? Like, we're seeing players that are waiting and waiting and waiting, and like having your number in the rafters is a huge deal. Unless you're like, I don't know, like who retires jerseys just all the time for no reason? Now, you know who doesn't is Toronto. They honor a lot. The only ones that are retired are 5 and 6. Ace Bailey and Bill Barilko. Those are the only 2 I think that are actually retired. All the other ones, like no one will ever wear 13 again.
No,
but it's honored. It's not retired. Same thing like Konstantinov. His is
those numbers are.
No one will ever. Yeah, no one will wear it again.
Like 90.
I just feel like some of those retired numbers where it's just like for the fans or some bullshit. Like what?
So stupid.
Like what are we, a minor league team? Like this is ridiculous. I just thought it was a little Mickey Mouse of Seattle.
It's almost like Minnesota might as well just put a paw print up there. Oh, because we're the Wild.
Well, that's like in Vegas, or I think it was Vegas. They had, instead of banners, they had like every team's logo. What do you do?
I've seen that. Yeah,
because you can't hang anything. You know, Or you have Nashville raising banners for like, you know, third best third jersey in the league. Like that's the funniest thing is Nashville
best record in October.
Yeah, they had a thing. It was like Stanley Cup finalists, and they had like a ceremony for it. It's like you lost. Like,
and I've seen that in the NFL too with a few teams. Just like, really?
Detroit at the Joe, they had every banner up. Central Division champs. But they never had a ceremony. It just like, okay, right, here it is.
Unless it's a Stanley Cup championship.
They don't have it anymore. They have the Stanley Cup champions, and they have the retired numbers, and all the other ones I think are in their practice rink.
And I think part of that too, like for the Wings, is it's a split facility, right? So
right, but they have 11 Stanley Cups, so it's like you have 11 banners, and then you have a bunch of
your retired numbers,
8 retired numbers,
which is absolutely fine,
right? So I just thought it was funny that I saw Seattle do that. I'm like, oh, man, you guys like
so dumb.
That's the only first thing I was like, that's stupid,
so dumb.
And the last thing I
do like those Seattle. Before you move into, do you see their salmon toss that they do?
Yeah, I did see that.
So actually, each salmon is like measured to whatever the actual full length is, like whatever the max length that you can catch in season.
Okay.
And they're supposed to be switching the salmon out like each month to whatever is like to the different salmon in the area. So they're gonna be switching.
So like they're stuffed though, right?
Yeah, they're stuffed salmon.
Right. So they're stuffed animals. The crowd, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, except it's weird because you're not the Seattle Fish.
Well, Florida and rats.
Well, it's
Detroit and octopus.
We're trying to have a tradition. It's like, I don't know, man. Like the rat thing, there was a story behind it.
Yeah, Mellenby killed one on whatever with the stick
in the dressing room. Yeah.
Yeah.
This Seattle thing, it's just like, well, like we're Seattle, like there's fish in the ocean, right? Like, really? I mean, the octopus means something. Well, it used to. I mean, it still kind of does. There was one on the ice the other day, which is kind of nice.
People are still sneaking them in.
Last thing we'll talk about might be controversial. I'm going to tell you a quick story. So I went to a game on Saturday.
Hey, there you go.
Me and Medice went to the Spitfires game.
Yes.
Just on a whim. And now it's Remembrance Day pretty soon. The Spits don't play at home again until like Saturday. So like it was their only home game like before Remembrance Day.
Yeah. So
and I realized that they did a little bit. Now, okay. We both looked at each other like, okay, like they played Erie, okay?
An American team, yeah.
American team. So, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for
the American national anthem.
They went American national anthem.
Yeah.
Canadian national anthem.
Yeah.
God Save the Queen. They had a bagpipe guy come out.
Badass.
The armed forces came out. A bugler started playing. The in Flanders Field.
They played the last post.
And then they did another thing. Then they did like the face-off ceremony thing. And then he played the bagpipes and the trumpet thing again.
So my thing on that whole thing.
And then they did a moment of silence. And then we started the game. So
you got to do this pregame ceremony stuff. The puck drops at the game time is 7:05. You got to do that at like 6.
Yeah, it started at like 7:20. We were standing for probably 12 minutes. Like we just kept looking at each other like, what is happening? So the Remembrance Day thing, I get it. They did God Save the Queen probably because of that.
But you got to do that before like pregame.
No, my question is this. And I think it probably came up a while ago with Colin Kaepernick, and then there was like Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. And there was, JT Brown had his fist in the air and stuff like that. Where I'm like, hey, whatever. Like, I don't really care. But my question is like, this is going to sound really bad. Why do we keep playing the national anthems before sporting events?
In the NFL, it's because
all of them.
Well, I know in the NFL, it's because the military pays for it.
Okay, now I'm sure, and I'm pretty sure that there are, like for example, and I know there are teams that actually get paid to do the salute to the military during the game, right?
And everybody
raise up.
Money grab.
It is, but I was kind of like, just in terms of like, it's a sporting event. Like I'm not saying like I don't give a shit about the national anthems, but it's like, do we have to?
No.
What's the point? Like,
NFL did it pre 9/11.
Like, why aren't we
didn't play 'em.
why aren't we doing a prayer for every religion at the start too? Like, I don't know if that's the same thing, but like, I just felt like,
At
man, this is overkill.
MLB,
man.
they play it, but they don't really like. They have it like if pitch time in MLB is at 6 o'clock, the
Yeah,
national
but
anthem is at like quarter.
I don't
to
care
6.
about that though. Like, I don't care about the whole when does the game start. I'm just talking about, is this just necessary? Like, is it part of the game? Is it part of the fan experience?
Like I said, the only sport that I know that didn't do it is NFL pre 9/11.
Right. Is it really because we're honoring the people that like allowed us to be free and do this? Because if so, why aren't it's tradition? That's what it boils down to. But I was just like, man, this is a long time to like kind of delay the game a little bit. And that's what I wondered. I'm like,
yeah,
man, that was a little overkill, huh? Like,
well, especially you have these players. Okay, they do their warm up, like they do their pregame warm up and all that. And, like,
oh, dude, these kids were standing there free. They give them another warm up.
Yeah,
honestly, like
that's why you got to do it pregame while they're in the locker room or what, like during the Zamboni flooding or whatever.
Exactly. Well, why don't you do all that stuff before well, because no one's there. That's why. So that's
why you say be there for at 6
Yeah.
o'clock for
exactly.
But
So that's all I wanted to bring up. I don't really have anything left to talk about. I know you have been busy moving.
Yeah, a little bit
set up.
Hoping to watch a little more hockey and come up with a few more topics. I know you grabbed the bull by the horns on this one, so I'm glad we're able to get something there and come in and do a little something. But yeah, here
we go. So there's a lot of stuff happening in the league. I'm gonna we'll keep an eye on it, and whatever we want to talk about, we'll talk about. Like I said, those the videos, I was like, man, with your wedding and just with work, and then I was doing a lot of stuff for like the nursery and things. Like, man, we're growing up, and like, this shit's just for fun. That's why we were like, fun. Who cares, man?
I think we'll get a little more content as things go on now. Things are starting to die down, at least on my end for a bit. I know they're going to start ramping up for you soon again.
Next few months is pretty chill, to be honest with you. Like getting into Christmas is really nothing to do. Baby showers at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And then it's like everything's kind of done.
Yeah.
So it's just always little shit like my computer breaking, like all this little crap that just bothers me. But like,
well, we're gonna end this podcast because I got a text 17 minutes ago. I think dinner is ready.
Dinner's ready. Oh, wifey making dinner.
He does.
Help. Nice. All right, buddy. So everybody, we'll talk to you soon. Come and check us out on healthyscratch.ca, on Facebook, on Twitter, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
I'm gonna eat fajitas.